Hey class, it's Miss Garcia. Hopefully, I'm back on Zoom today, and so I'll be able to answer any questions you have, and I'll also be in the classroom for my in-class students. Today's lesson, I'm going to try to go through pretty quickly because the video you are required to watch is a little long, but you do have time to watch it. You have a 4-day weekend after today, so I really want you to pay close attention to the video, and I'll explain to you why. So what we're going to be doing is talking about discussions. We've been talking about biases, and so I want you to really use that information when we talk about discussions. So as it says, when I introduce bias, I let you know we will be covering a wide array of topics and having in-depth discussions about them. However, I did not let you know how I would like you to discuss them. Even though many of you have participated in discussions before, they may not have been the most constructive discussions. So what do I mean? If we look into Old Faithful, the Merriam-Webster Dictionary, we will find that constructive means to promote improvement or development, while discussion means to consider a question. Normally, that question is in reference to a certain topic or idea. So therefore, my definition of constructive discussion is one that promotes understanding by developing the topic or idea through the use of shared ideas. So let's dive in a little deeper into the subject so you can understand more clearly. Because again, sometimes it's just like a whole bunch of words thrown on the board or in front of you and you're like, I don't even know what that means. So I really like to demonstrate that. So first, in order to participate in a constructive discussion, you need to know what is expected of you and how to participate properly. So luckily, Ms. Garcia came through for you and created a 2-page constructive discussion guide. That is a tongue twister. So I want you to check it out below, but I'm going to go over it with you real fast too, okay? So this is a little small, so let me bring up the other one. So the constructive discussion guide. So basically, it's going to be rules and guidelines. So the rules for constructive discussion are to be prepared, know what you're going to talk about, be visible, sit so everyone can see each other, especially if we're on Zooms. You know, I don't want to just see like a piece of your body or the wall behind you and, barely the top of your head. I want to see your face. Be productive, get started right away and stay on topic. Don't have like sidebar conversations and talk about the weather, like just dive into it. Be respectful. Do not talk over or interrupt anyone. Be mindful of your tone and volume. Do not be sarcastic or dismissive or raise your voice at anyone. Now, this one is even hard for me because I'm highly sarcastic, but there is a time and place for it, and I do appreciate sarcasm, but not in our discussions. I really want our discussions to really develop the ideas we're talking about. So now that you know the rules, which are you have to adhere to them, I'm going to give you some guidelines for participating in a constructive discussion, which we will be doing in person and over Zoom and vice versa. So I don't know how to say this author's name, but you're going to practice active listening. And Doschendorf, a Fast Company, explains, most people are thinking about what they want to say next while someone else is speaking. Become aware of this during your conversations, and when you find your mind going forward to a response, stop and try to force yourself to listen. You need to listen to understand, not just to respond. And then here are some little ideas over here on the side that you can check out. So always practice active listening. Get out of yourself. The best conversation begins with showing an interest in the other person, their world, and what they might be interested in. Great conversationalists have a sincere interest in others, notice things about them, and use these things to start and fuel their conversations. And you are actually going to see a video where we have a discussion and you will notice this, that we get out of ourselves. Check body language. Now this is very important. This pertains to both your own body language and the other participants. Doschendorf explains that making eye contact helps others feel they are receiving your full and undivided attention, and your tone indicates if you are with them or not. Leaning in also shows you are interested and listening to what they are saying. And here's a little graphic that kind of shows you what some of the body languages kind of convey. Ask good questions. According to Doschendorf, we can get others to share more by showing an interest in asking open-ended questions to help them get deeper into the conversation. Good questions are asking someone how they think or feel about something that they are talking about. Good questions also help drive the conversation forward while indicating that you have been listening to what the others are saying. So you really want to have those questions build the conversation or to offer some clarity. Remember, and clarity is to like make sure people understand. And five, so support what you say. It is perfectly fine to have an opinion or stance on a topic. However, you need to use evidence to support that opinion. You can pull support from your own life experiences, text, and media. By adding examples that support your opinions, you make your stances more convincing. And I have provided some types of evidence here. We are going to get a little deeper into this next week about evidence, but these are just some quick ideas. So types of evidence, we have fact or statistic. So facts are indisputable truths usually said by an expert in the field, usually with a degree that suggests they are an expert. Statistics, they are from reputable sources. Government entities, universities, colleges are highly regarded companies or nonprofit organizations. So I always think of statistics as facts with numbers. Story or anecdote. Story is a secondhand account of an experience that was witnessed or a story that was passed down from one generation to the next that relates to the argument. An antecedent is a first-hand experience of something that happened to you that is related to the argument. Now, Ms. Garcia will always mispronounce this, as you have noticed, but I do try. So basically, these are stories that you pull from the real world. Examples of things that have already happened due to one way of thinking or something that has already been done. This should explain outcomes that have already taken place. A quote is a verbatim statement, which is word for word, from a credible source about the topic you are arguing. And then we have the scenario. That's an example that can happen in the future if something does or does not change based on your argument. So I definitely want you to really keep this in mind and keep this handy when we are having discussions so that you can use these types of evidence and also follow these guidelines. So I definitely want you to take a closer look at that, especially when you are watching the video. So moving on. Just also so you know, you can also find a copy of this guide in your OneNote class notebook under class notes. Hard copies are also available for those that need it, and a PDF version will be available in the week of August 31, day 4 folder. So now we have the guidelines and the rules. So secondly, you need to know what a constructive discussion actually looks like. Yet again, you're lucky because Ms. Garcia got you. I brought together 3 of my favorite Ellison High School teachers in order to demonstrate what a constructive discussion looks like. This discussion serves 2 purposes: to model what constructive discussions look like, and to get you thinking about Unit 2, which is the informative and argumentative text. We're going to be talking about social media as a new instigator of social reform. So disclaimer, before you watch the video, however, I do want to make the following clear. The discussion is not meant to influence your thinking. Instead, it is to offer outside perspective on the various topics and ideas. The stances expressed in the video are not meant to represent those of Ellison High School or Killeen ISD. They are solely the person's opinions of those participating in the discussion. You do not have to agree with what is said in the video. However, you do need to listen so that you can begin learning the process of both active listening and participating in a constructive discussion. So, this discussion addresses the following. The first thing we do is we share who we are and provide background. Then we discuss what social reforms we remember and how we learned about them. I ask them how they think social media affects our awareness of social reforms. I ask them to consider the text Anger as an Inspiration. That's the one you guys annotated. I ask them, do you agree or disagree that anger can be channeled into positive action? And does social media have an influence on how we channel our anger? And 5, what do you think of John Lewis's belief that we should get in good trouble, necessary trouble, and help redeem the soul of America? And do you believe that we can utilize social media to achieve this goal? Furthermore, do you believe America needs to be redeemed? Now, this last question gets a little heavy, and you'll see. And I just definitely want you to pay close attention to how we're discussing it, how we're sharing our examples, and expressing our thoughts. Okay, so instructions for watching the video. While you're watching the video, I want you to pay close attention to how we adhere to the rules and guidelines for participating in a constructive discussion. Are we respectful of one another? Are we actively listening to each other and building upon what we each say? Is there any body language that indicates we are listening or interested? Do we support our stances with any evidence? If so, what kind of evidence is it? Second, consider the possible biases each of us might possess based on the information we share. Do our backgrounds provide any indication of what biases we might have? Do we share any biases during our discussion? And do you recognize any biases within our examples? Again, pay close attention to these key aspects of the discussion as we will talk about them in depth on Tuesday. And the video is about 48 minutes long, so you'll be finishing the video over the 4-day break. So I'm not saying you have to watch it all at one time. I am saying that you need to finish the 48-minute video and you need to pay close attention to it. Okay, the reason I say that is because you need to be prepared to participate in a discussion board over the video on Tuesday. And that discussion board is going to ask you for some pretty specific examples. So you need to be paying close attention and really paying attention to the questions asked in number 1 and 2. So without further ado, I present to you a frank and honest discussion with teachers. Now I'll play this video for the students in class. Those of you that are on Zoom, go ahead and you can watch it on your own time. You can watch it during your class period. You can break it up. Even those that are in class, we're not going to finish it. They will be finishing it on their own time. And as always, if you have any questions, please let me know. You can get me on Remind. You can hit me through Zoom or through email. All right, guys. Well, I hope you enjoyed the conversation. Again, just pay close attention to the actual discussion points as far as like how we're acting and responding to each other. And I hope you guys have a great 4-day weekend. Bye.